Oh my God, that's awesome. This one is still in the shrink. So today on Scott Slasher World, I'm counting down 5 1980s slasher films that should have gotten a sequel or their own franchise. So the first 1980s slasher film I want to talk about this week is a flat-out classic, and I'm still surprised to this day that it didn't have its own franchise, let alone like a sequel, and it is The Burning.
What happened one summer 5 years ago is about to happen again. The Burning.
With some of the greatest horror movie effects of all time by Tom Savini, this came around about the same time as Friday the 13th Part 2. I'm pretty sure this was a 1981 release. I love the Blu-ray cover. The classic VHS cover looked like the discs. This had early appearances by Jason Alexander and Holly Hunter. Such a cool cast. It really felt like a camp movie. It took place at a summer camp where Cropsey is getting revenge on these kids who have wronged him. Well, it wasn't actually these kids, but he's still taking revenge on kids who have wronged him in the past at the camp. Man, I just don't understand how this never became a franchise. Technically, the killer does die at the end, but you could have brought him back in a number of ways, and it would have made such a cool franchise to go up against the likes of like Friday the 13th and Halloween. The next slasher film on the list is The Funhouse.
The Funhouse, coming soon from Universal Pictures. The Funhouse, it's a carnival of terror from Tobe Hooper, the director who terrified you with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
This Tobe Hooper directed masterpiece would have made a really good franchise. You could have did a lot of cool kills in The Funhouse. It actually starts out with a big Halloween style fake out where you think it's going to be that type of slasher movie where the killer is going to around the houses and killing people, but it turns out to be something totally different. It's actually at the carnival in the Funhouse. Some shenanigans are happening, and there is a killer that is in the Funhouse who actually has like a little bit of like a family. So you could have, even though the main killer does die, you could have, you know, had an extra family members show up in part 2 or 3, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Or maybe you could have brought the killer back in some kind of weird fashion like Jason Voorhees. A really cool looking killer. The reveal at the end is really cool when the killer is unmasked. I don't know, I love everything about this movie. It's a really fun film and would have made an excellent franchise. Oh my God, that's awesome. This one is still in the shrink. It's Madman.
There is no escape.
Madman is such a cool slasher film. I particularly love the opening scene by the campfire. It has definitely inspired countless slasher films, but such a cool killer. This one really deserves a sequel because the killer is still alive, and to me the killer was always a ghost. It's kind of reminiscent of like the Hatchet killers. Like at first you don't really think it's a ghost, but I think as the movie goes along, I think he's more of a ghost that comes back once you say his name by the campfire. That's how I've always taken it. Man, this would have been a good franchise, and I'm really surprised that Madman didn't get a sequel. The next slasher film on the list is another Tom Savini gore fest. It's The Prowler.
Tonight, the terror begins again.
They never found out who did it. But it had to be someone in town, someone who knew that she was called Rose. And Mark, that guy still might be around here.
Oh, I don't believe this. You're talking about something that happened over 30 years ago.
Whenever the time was right, he'd come back. The Prowler.
This one right here is a excellent slasher film when it comes to the killings and the gore. Now to me, the story is kind of, I wouldn't say weak, I just think it's a little slower. To me, it's a little slower film, and I'm kind of waiting for the next kill. But I really feel that this would have made a great franchise because of the way the movie kind of lays itself out there. You could have had a different killer that's mad about events that's happened in the past, that it's maybe related to somebody that's been killed or the killer, and I think that would have been a really cool idea. And as long as like Savini, or like I said, some of Savini's crew was still along for the ride and doing the effects, I just think that this would have been another really cool event like Friday the 13th or The Burning, which should have got a sequel or a franchise as well. This would have just been a really cool franchise that you're definitely going to the theater to see what the next big kill is. And the last 80s slasher flick on my list of movies that should have been a franchise, or at least gotten a sequel, is the 3D masterpiece Silent Madness.
Inside your head, the screaming never stops. Silent Madness.
Rated R.
I'm going to call it a masterpiece. I know a lot of people would not, but man, it is so awesome, so campy, so over the top. A lot of people don't know about this movie, and I feel like it's probably the lesser known movie on the list. I love that Vinegar Syndrome packed these really cool 3D glasses with the Silent Madness art on the sides. It's so cool. Looks good, man. Looks really good with these glasses. Would have made an awesome franchise. Can you imagine seeing Silent Madness 2 in 3D? Oh, it's been so great. Or just Silent Madness 3D, Part 3. Yeah, I love the killer in this, love the over-the-top kills, and I feel like this definitely could have been a sequel, because even though the killer dies, the killer's mom is still alive, and it is kind of revealed at the end that the killer's mom sort of starts it all by killing co-eds. So you could have had her come back. Or you could have brought the killer back, Jason Voorhees style, like I love to say, because you could have electrocuted him and he could have came back, or anything could have happened, and the killer could have been resurrected. But I don't know, go with the mom, or maybe the mom had another son that decides to get revenge just like his brother. Really cool film, underrated gem, and I just feel like a sequel or just a whole franchise would have really, I don't know, brought more attention to this movie. And if you haven't seen it, check this one out. That's all for my top 5 1980s slasher films that should have had either a sequel or been a whole movie franchise. Stay tuned to the end of the video, because I do want to show off a couple of new items that I got. I got a couple of things from Retro Reset that I really want to show off, and I think everyone's going to really enjoy. Let me know what your favorite slasher film was that I showed off this week. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. So the first item I want to show off is this awesome Earthworm Jim figure that I just picked up from Retro Reset. Look at the beautiful, beautiful card on this figure. Earthworm Jim looks so cool. They actually have a few more figures. They have another Earthworm Jim figure, they have a Psycho figure, and a vehicle that I may go back and pick up if it's not already gone. But these things are hard to come by, these Earthworm Jim figures, especially in this great of condition. I love it, and I can't wait to add it to the wall. I also got this at Retro Reset, though I guess technically it is a hidden gem pickup. I've got to thank Jason Schaefer for this awesome deal that he gave me on this Elvira figure. This I picked up for my wife. She loves Elvira just as much as I do. Look at the back here. I love that. Look at that. Very cool Elvira artwork. I also really, I dig this pop. It looks so cool. I love the colors. I love the Elvira 40 years logo at the top. A beautiful piece, and it's going to look really cool in our bedroom. And the last thing I'm going to show off this week, and it also came from Retro Reset Video Games and Collectibles. Clay gave me a really good deal on this one, so I went ahead and picked up Jurassic Park Rampage Edition. I got Jurassic Park 1 from my buddy Justin, so it was cool to add Rampage Edition to the collection as well. So now I've got 2 Sega Genesis Jurassic Park games, and I look forward to picking up the rest. Also, there's a couple for Super Nintendo that I will eventually pick up, but really cool to add to the ever-growing Sega Genesis collection. That's all for this week. Be sure to leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite item was that I showed off.